Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. With your exams getting so close, I know you're working hard. So today, we're going to break down a really powerful poem, Ted Hughes' Hawk Roosting. It might look a bit tough, but trust me, we'll make it super simple together.
Yes, मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, exams are just around the corner. I know, the pressure is on. But please, no tension. This poem might seem a little deep at first, but I promise you, by the end of our little session today, you are going to understand it completely. It's actually quite easy once you get the main idea. So are you ready? Let's crack this poem together.
Okay, so the very first thing you absolutely need to know about this poem is who is speaking. It's not the poet Ted Hughes. Nope. The speaker, the narrator, is the main character itself, a huge, powerful hawk. The whole poem is from the hawk's point of view.
That's right. This poem is what we call a dramatic monologue. It's a fancy term, I know, but it just means one character is speaking all their inner thoughts out loud, for us to hear. You see, the poet, Ted Hughes, he was totally fascinated by animals and, the raw, kind of violent side of nature. So what he does here is, he gives the hawk a voice to tell us exactly what it's thinking. Pretty cool, right?
All right, now for the main part. Let's get into it. We are going to go through the hawk's thoughts, stanza by stanza, to really understand what kind of character this bird is. And don't you worry, it's all very logical. Let's start right from the top.
So the poem opens with our hawk sitting right at the very top of the forest. And notice its posture, eyes closed, in action. He's not hunting, he's just chilling, resting. But even when he's completely still, he feels all-powerful, totally in control. He's not dreaming about anything, because for him, reality is already perfect.
Can you believe the attitude on this guy? The hawk looks at the world and he thinks that everything, the tall trees that give him a perfect view, the air that helps him soar, even the sun in the sky, he thinks it was all made just for him. He feels like the entire world is just laid out for him to look at. This shows us he has this extreme, almost godlike arrogance.
And if you thought that was arrogant, listen to this. This is probably the most powerful statement in the whole poem. The hawk actually believes that the entire universe worked for millions of years with just one goal in mind, to create him in all his perfection. And now, as he grips the branch with his sharp talons, he feels like he holds the power of creation itself right there in his foot. Wow.
And this idea is the absolute core of the poem, Beta. It's the hawk's god complex. See, he doesn't think he's just another animal in nature. Oh no. He thinks he is the master of nature. He believes he has the ultimate power, just like a god.
Now here, the hawk is being brutally honest. He doesn't make any excuses for being violent. No sophistry simply means he's not using any tricky or false arguments to justify what he does. He kills because he can, and he believes he owns everything. For him, being a killer is just his nature, and he says his manners, his way of doing things, is just tearing off heads. It's so direct and simple and honestly, a little bit terrifying.
The hawk even calls his killing the Allotment of Death, almost like he's a god deciding who gets to live and who has to die. And when he flies to hunt, his path is direct through the bones of the living. There's no stopping, no hesitation. He believes he has the absolute, unquestionable right to do this. And in the final stanza, the hawk claims that he's the one in charge of everything. He even thinks he controls time. He says, "Nothing has changed because my eye has permitted no change." Can you see what he's saying? He believes his will is so strong that he can stop progress, stop change, and keep everything under his control forever.
Okay, so we've understood the hawk's mind now, right? He's arrogant, he's violent, and he's a total control freak. But is that all the poem is about? Let's look at the deeper meaning, the real secret message that Ted Hughes is trying to give us.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. This way of thinking, this extreme arrogance, this love for power, this desire to stop all change, does it remind you of anything or anyone else? This is the most important point of the poem. The hawk is not just a hawk.
And here is the big reveal. This is the poem's real theme. Ted Hughes is so clever. He uses this hawk as a symbol, a metaphor for a human tyrant or a dictator. Just think about any dictator from history. They believe they are the best, the supreme leader. They rule using violence and fear. They think they can never be wrong, and they hate any kind of change that could threaten their power. The Hawk's monologue, it's like we are reading the mind of a tyrant.
All right, everyone, cello. Now, for a very, very important section. Let's quickly go over some of the most common questions about this poem that you might get in your exam. I'll give you the key points for your answers, so you can get full marks.
Okay, this is a classic question. The title itself is super important. Why roosting? Roosting just means resting or sitting. So why would the poet focus on the hawk when it's just sitting there, not even hunting?
So here is your perfect answer. First, roosting shows that the hawk's power is not just in what it does, like killing, but in its mind, in its thoughts. It's a mental power. Second, even when it's still, its control over the forest is total. And finally, you can write that its roost, its resting place high up in the tree, is like a king's throne from where it looks down on its kingdom. Simple.
Now, this line is the heart of the poem, so it's really important that you understand it well. You have to be able to explain what the hawk is claiming here.
For this answer, you just need to hit these 4 points. 1, it's the hawk's main claim to absolute power. 2, it clearly shows its God complex. 3, it turns a part of its body, its foot, which it uses to kill, into a symbol of total control over life and death. And 4, this belief makes it feel invincible, completely unstoppable. See? Easy peasy.
Now, this is a bit of a higher-level question, but it sums up the main theme so well. The hawk's final statement, "I'm going to keep things like this," is a huge clue about how tyrants think. Tyranny is always against change, it's against progress, because any change is a threat to the tyrant's complete control. They want to freeze time just to keep their own power.
And that's it. See? Not so complicated after all, was it? You now understand the hawk's mind and the poem's powerful message about tyranny. You are totally prepared to tackle any question on this. You are all rock stars. Go ace those exams. And if this helped you, please do hit that like button and subscribe for more. And let me know in the comments which chapter you want me to cover next. All the very best and bye-bye.